The UK government has announced a major step toward tackling violence against women and girls, introducing a new law that will make it illegal to share or publish online pornography that depicts acts of strangulation or suffocation. This bold action comes as part of a broader strategy to address the growing concern about how violent and degrading sexual content online can normalize aggression and harm toward women. The announcement has drawn wide attention as it highlights both the government's stance on online safety and the ongoing efforts to make the internet a safer place for everyone, especially women and young girls who are often the most vulnerable targets of gender-based violence. For years, campaigners and advocacy groups have expressed concern over the availability of violent sexual material that portrays harmful or life-threatening acts. Such content, though previously restricted under certain laws, could still be accessed online due to loopholes in digital regulations and the rapid spread of user-generated content. The new measure aims to close these gaps, sending a strong message that violence disguised as entertainment has no place in modern society. This decision follows a series of tragic, real-life incidents where violence against women has been linked to the influence of extreme or aggressive content consumed online. The government, in consultation with women's rights organizations and law enforcement, determined that there was an urgent need to take action. By criminalizing depictions of strangulation and suffocation in online pornography, lawmakers are seeking to break the link between violent online imagery and real-world harm. Officials have also emphasized that this move is not an attack on free expression or personal privacy, but rather a moral and safety-driven response to a very real social problem. The legislation forms part of the UK's Online Safety Bill, a landmark initiative designed to hold tech companies accountable for the material shared on their platforms. This law will require websites, hosting services, and social media companies to take responsibility for removing illegal and harmful content or face heavy penalties. Experts have warned for years that exposure to violent sexual imagery can desensitize viewers, normalize abusive behavior, and blur the lines between consent and coercion. When such acts are shown without context or consequence, they risk shaping dangerous attitudes, especially among young audiences. Research by women's advocacy groups suggests that many perpetrators of assault admit to being influenced by violent material seen online. The new UK policy is designed to disrupt that pattern by addressing the content at its source. The government statement outlines that the ban will cover all online and commercial platforms, making it illegal to produce, distribute, or host any pornographic material showing acts of strangulation or suffocation. Enforcement agencies will have the power to remove such content and prosecute offenders under updated criminal law. This is a significant expansion of existing legal definitions of harmful and extreme pornography. Home Secretary and other senior ministers have described the move as an essential part of protecting women from gender-based violence. They argue that while the internet has become a place for creativity and freedom, it must also be a space governed by safety, respect, and accountability. This is especially important as online platforms become more integrated into daily life and as younger generations rely heavily on digital spaces for information and interaction. Women's rights groups have welcomed the announcement, calling it a long overdue step in recognizing the link between violent media and real-world abuse. Organizations such as Refuge and the End Violence Against Women Coalition have stated that these changes will help to challenge the normalization of violent behavior and reduce the risk of women being subjected to abuse, inspired by what offenders see online. However, not everyone has agreed with the measure. Some critics have argued that censorship of content may set a dangerous precedent and could lead to overreach. Others have questioned how effectively the law can be enforced, given the vastness of the internet and the global nature of content sharing. The government, however, has responded by saying that protecting people from serious harm outweighs those concerns, and that technology companies have the tools and responsibility to ensure compliance. Technology experts believe that artificial intelligence and machine learning will play a key role in enforcing this law. Automated systems can be designed to detect and flag harmful videos before they spread. Platforms like X, formerly Twitter, Meta, and adult content sites will be expected to enhance their monitoring systems and work with UK authorities to block illegal uploads. Fines for non-compliance could reach millions of pounds, making it in the best interest of platforms to prioritise safety. The announcement also ties into the broader movement against sexual violence and gender inequality. In recent years, several countries have introduced tougher laws to protect women from both physical and online abuse. The UK's new measure complements existing efforts, including the campaign to make non-fatal strangulation a standalone criminal offence, a change introduced after extensive advocacy from women's groups and survivors. This recognition of the dangers of strangulation reflects the serious physical and psychological harm it causes, and now extends that understanding into the digital world. The move is also seen as a message to global audiences that the UK is serious about digital safety and moral responsibility. By tackling harmful online content at its root, the government hopes to set a precedent for other nations to follow. It sends a signal that while freedom of expression remains vital, it cannot come at the cost of human dignity or safety. Parents and educators have been encouraged to talk more openly with young people about what they see online. Experts stress that while laws can restrict harmful content, education remains the strongest tool in changing attitudes. Schools are being urged to teach media literacy and consent education to help young people understand the difference between reality and fiction, respect and abuse. The broader online safety bill also targets other forms of digital harm, including cyberbullying, hate speech, and exploitation. It aims to create a digital environment where users feel protected and empowered, rather than threatened or misled. With stricter guidelines for tech companies, clearer reporting channels for users, and a focus on prevention rather than reaction, the UK hopes to lead a new era of responsible digital citizenship. Many survivors of abuse have shared their relief at the new measures, saying that for too long, violent online content has contributed to a culture that excuses aggression. They believe that banning depictions of suffocation and strangulation in pornography is not just a legal step, but a cultural shift, one that challenges society to rethink what it considers acceptable. Entertainment. Ultimately, the UK government's decision reflects a growing understanding that online spaces mirror real life. What people see online can influence how they behave offline. By removing violent imagery that glorifies abuse, the law aims to reduce the risk of harm and promote healthier, safer relationships. The journey toward online safety is ongoing, and this measure is one chapter in a much larger story about digital responsibility, gender equality, and human respect. The success of this initiative will depend not only on enforcement, but also on collaboration between governments, companies, educators, and citizens. Each has a role to play in ensuring that technology serves humanity rather than harming it. As the new law moves closer to being implemented, public awareness and dialogue will be key. The goal is not only to punish offenders, but to change the culture of how violence is viewed and consumed online. If successful, this effort could mark a turning point in the fight against violence toward women and girls. proving that the internet can be both free and safe when guided by empathy, ethics, and accountability.